Good morning, folks. This is Deb. You know, today we're going to take a little turn and we're going to talk about something that needs to be spoken about. And it's something that needs to be shared and something that needs to be a continual reminder for people. And that is that Donald Trump is a pathological liar. Okay. And he rules through fear in some cases, and he generates that fear by lying. Okay. He also uses lies to make himself look like he's some kind of heroic world leader. So without further ado, let's get into some of the lies in Trump 2.0. We already know that in Trump's first term, he told 30,573 documented lies. He's well on his way here, okay? But we can't cover, obviously, all of them in this video, but we will cover what I consider to be the most important. So let's start at the top. Donald Trump claims that he has made 200 trade deals with 200 countries. This is a lie because there are not 200 countries on the planet. He also stated in June that he made a deal with China. And if he did, China certainly doesn't know about it. In fact, nobody knows about it. He did not make a deal with China in June. He and China agreed to a framework for future talks, is what I believe actually happened. That is not making a deal. And no, countries are not lining up to make a deal with Donald Trump. Trump's missile strikes. Let's start there. They did not obliterate Iran's nuclear capacity. In fact, it put them back by a couple of years. They will be able to rebuild their structures, and within 2 years, they will be able to create a nuclear weapon should they choose to do so. However, the other lie in this big Iran debacle here was that they already had a nuclear weapon. They did not. And even the maniacal head of our intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, stated that they did not, and she was immediately shut down and rejected by Donald Trump because that's the way he rolls. If you don't support his lies, you are not allowed to speak anywhere publicly. The war in Ukraine was not ended on day one. Now, Donald Trump will tell you that he was using that as sarcasm, but a man who was using that claim as sarcasm does not make that claim 53 times as he was campaigning for the presidency. That was a lie, not sarcasm. Grocery prices are not way down. In fact, they are going up. You don't need an article or a citation to prove that to you, because if you are going shopping every week like I am, you see it. Even in the best stores in Massachusetts, the best store I consider in Massachusetts to shop in is Market Basket. Even they are raising prices. And I will say this, they are not raising it as high as other stores, but prices are not going down under Donald Trump, quite the opposite. Medicaid was not protected as he promised on the campaign trail. In fact, his big ugly bill will take Medicaid away from 17 million people. 17 million people, including veterans, seniors, and children. And while he was at it, he managed to get them to cut SNAP benefits, which is food for veterans, seniors, and children. Also, that Donald Trump can give people like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, and the rest of the billionaire class in America a massive tax cut, which will explode our deficit. Trump's first full month back in office did not have the lowest number of illegal border crossings in history. That's a lie. Okay? That is an absolute lie. And by the way, Donald Trump is not deporting criminals. He is deporting people who are actually on the pathway to citizenship, stealing them right out of their citizenship appointments and literally disappearing people off the streets. Their families don't even know where they are. So the notion that he is trying to protect this country by deporting criminals is a lie. Okay? It's a lie. Let's move on. According to Trump, his military parade had 250,000 attendees. I saw the photos. I saw the overhead photos from a drone. I saw all the rest of the photos. If he had 10,000 people, he was lucky. In contrast, the No Kings March brought out nearly 14 million Americans across the nation. Okay? Trump did not successfully negotiate a ceasefire between Iran and Israel. And any ceasefire attempt he may have made lasted only a couple of hours. Just as Donald Trump did not single-handedly bring about a ceasefire between India and Pakistan. He did not mediate anything because Prime Minister Modi does not believe in mediation from a third party. He considers the problem between India and Pakistan to be bilateral, theirs to solve. He has rejected any mediation since 1947. 1947, okay? India has rejected any third-party mediation. Now, the U.S. was perhaps involved in this, but so was Iran, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Qatar, China, the United Arab Emirates. They were all involved in bringing about the ceasefire between India and Pakistan, okay? The difference is the leaders of those other countries didn't run for a microphone and make it sound like they did it all by themselves. Trump's approval rating is not higher than any president at this point in history. His approval rating sits at 37%, and it is falling. And you know what? We need to make sure everybody understands who he is so it continues to fall, especially as we approach the midterms, because this will radiate out onto the Republican Party. Here's another one. The claim that California was burning to the ground, that Los Angeles was burning to the ground due to protests, so that he could call out the Marines and the National Guard. That's a lie. We have photographs of people going to work in Los Angeles completely unfazed by wherever the conflict was. Whatever was going on in Los Angeles at that time could have easily been handled by the Los Angeles Police Department and was being handled by the Los Angeles Police Department. Okay? Donald Trump, once again, lied so that he could justify calling out the Marines and the National Guard, setting a precedent by turning the military loose on its own citizens and completely discrediting the military in America. Donald Trump is a disgusting and horrific human being. He is simply not fit to run this country. He is a man who simply has no morals. He has no class. His idea of celebrating the 250th anniversary of our existence next year is to have a WWE wrestling event at the White House. That's his idea of celebrating our 250th anniversary as a nation. Donald Trump is scum, and it's about time that we keep pushing this notion, and we will come back with more lies as they're told, because they are told every single day. And the Republican Party, Donald Trump lies and the Republican Party swears to it. Marco Rubio's a liar. Every member of the House and the Senate are liars. Caroline Leavitt lies minute by minute as she stands in front of a camera. Kristi Noem's a liar. They're all liars. They're all liars backing the world's biggest liar in Donald Trump. You guys have a great Sunday. I will be back tomorrow, and I will talk to you all later.